Yes, my people, were reacting to a video by Antonio Speaks. I literally just found this creator today, and from the 1 or 2 videos I've seen from him, he seems very sound, stand up, and today he's talking about black on black crime. Something that, you know, every single black person should definitely be interested to actually hear about and actually educate themselves on. So, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Black on black crime. This is a statement I have been hearing my entire life, and I want to say this first and foremost. It is not real. Now, without context, it might seem like a true statement, but if black on black crime exists, so does white on white crime, or Asian on Asian crime, or even better, Mexican on Mexican crime. You see, Mexico has an extremely high murder rate, but we never hear Mexican on Mexican crime.
Which is very, very true. And I think, obviously, like I said, this isn't a political channel or anything like that, but we just react to things that we're interested in being inside music and also entertainment, right? But this is, again, I'm looking at more serious topics, hence why I'm reacting to things like this. Just from the studies that I've done personally anyways, it's a known fact that any group of people that live within a certain vicinity, then you're going to be seeing more rates of the same group of people attacking each other. So for example, if you have white people in a sector and they're within one community, then you're going to see more numbers of, for example, white on white crime as opposed to obviously black on white crime in that said area, because white people are the majority. Same thing with Mexicans or Latino people or Asian people, etc. In fact, whenever I speak to my Asian friends and they tell me the stuff that they might be getting up to, it's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? This is something that affects absolutely every single race and every single community. But the black on black crime is a title given for a specific reason. And of course, I'm pretty sure he's going to start to unpack the reason in this video. Let's actually hear.
Better yet, let's just use America. My mother used to binge watch true crime TV shows. And guess who most of the victim and murderer was? White people. Let's go to Japan. You'll never hear Asian on Asian crime, even though they're the ones committing murder or crime towards each other. See, crime has nothing to do with race or ethnicity. It is simply proximity based. And to keep it 100, society is pretty much segregated. White people live near white people, black people live near black people, Hispanics.
It's literally what I said. Literally, but yeah,
live near Hispanics, etc. And another factor that people really don't put into play is poverty. Black people live in some of the most high poverty areas, which breeds crime. Now let's bring up statistics because y'all love using these. We got 3 FBI crime stats from 2017, 2018, and 2019. From 2017, white people accounted for 80% of other white murders. In 2018, it was 80.75%, and in 2019, it was 78.62%. Now here's the black stats. From 2017 to 2019, it was consistent at about 88%. And just by me comparing the two, yes, black murders are higher, but white on white crime is real too.
When you look back in history, again, I'm not bringing up statistics right here because obviously you guys can go do your own research. Don't take anything I'm saying or even he's saying for gospel. Do your own research, right? Be critical thinkers. Now, back in history, according to statistics in America, we actually saw that every single statistic that's used against black people today was actually not black people's statistics, but rather was actually white people's statistics. For example, let's say the rates of, let's say, single mothers. That was actually highly prevalent within the white community before, obviously, you know, the whole laws that came into play, you know, around that time, etc. You guys can do your own history lesson. I don't want to make this video too crazy. Do your own research anyways. But all these different things were actually never ascribed to the black on black community until it was used as devices to obviously segregate the community and turn it into what it is today. Do you know what I mean? And this is actually stuff that is written and documented in history. Like, I'm not even just, you guys already know me, I'm not a political person or anything like that, but I do call a spade and call things out whenever is required.
Say this honestly, as a young black man, we do need to do better. But the problem is always the cherry picking. It's so easy to throw one group of people under the bus and blame them for all of the problems. And this is where the false stats and racism comes into play.
Say there was 100 chimpanzees and 13 of those chimpanzees were causing 60% of the issues in the chimp community. What should we do with those 13 chimpanzees?
Well, anytime an animal acts like that, we usually euthanize them. But I guess if you didn't want to euthanize them, I would say you should probably send them back to the jungle, because an animal like that can't be tamed and is wild shouldn't be living around other animals that have been domesticated. They should probably just be put back in the wild where they belong.
I debunk this every single video. 1350. Black people are 13% of the population but commit 50% of the crimes. It's false. They're getting their stats from the FBI 2019 crime in the United States. And if they actually did the proper research, you would see that it says total arrests. So yes, black people make up 50% of total arrests. But guess what? As you can see, black people make up 53% of people exonerated, bro. This is crazy. And if you don't know what exonerated means, it means the action of officially absolving someone from blame, aka not guilty. You want to know what we can talk about though? Drugs, overdosing. So right here we have total drug overdose deaths by race and ethnicity. And this is for 2019. 50,000 were white, 10,000 were black. In 2020, 62,000 were white, 15,000 were black. In 2021, 70,000 were white.
But it just goes back down to like what is perpetrated within the media. We already know that, for example, hip hop, you know, I'm a producer, engineer, so even me talking on this is kind of crazy, do you know what I mean? But in genres like hip hop, we already know how it transitioned from it being like a political kind of thing into it becoming, you know, more so about vibes, then eventually became all about sex, drugs, and power. You know what I mean? And that's what it is right now, to where obviously it's now literally just purely about either sex or getting lit, or, you know, no one really wants to. Anytime that like I hear a Kendrick Lamar song, I can't lie to you, man, I'm turning that off, bro. Every single time I hear like a J. Cole, I'm turning that off. Unless it's like the old school versions of them. Like, whereas if I'm hearing like a Drake, I listen to that all day, because you already know that Drake has gone from the substance from back then into where he is right now, where obviously he's just talking about getting lit and And even though I'm saying that, and I know I'm saying that seriously, by the way, but the more you guys realize that sometimes I'd be joking sometimes. But even though like that specific bit is a bit of a joke, it's just the nature of like people within my age group and people within the culture just at the current moment. Like, we'll rather listen to things that get us lit and makes us forget all the deep topics and actually look into things like this and educate on ourselves on this. And to be honest, whenever I have conversations with people within, you know, the community based on serious things like this or on politics or anything like that, it never ends well, because no one ever wants to educate themselves and actually understand what's actually going on within the community. And once you're not doing that, you can't then blame the outcome. You know, no one's really bothered, unfortunately, within our community, which is, it's a shame, man. But I can only speak from what I've personally witnessed.
19,000 were black. 2022, 67,000 were white, 20,000 were black. And in 2023, 63,000 were white and 21,000 were black.
And also, with the statistics as well, you also got to realize that in places like, again, America or places like the UK, for example, I believe I don't know if it's the UK or whether it's London, but black people make 3% of the population. Like 3%, do you know what I'm saying? In America, I believe you said 13. So we're minority groups regardless. There's more white people in these places than any other race, because again, these were places and that again, the white people either took over and colonized, or that's where they migrated to, do you know what I mean? Due to history. But again, with me, I always say to people anyways, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm one of those people that are, you know, pro-black activist, but I'm B1. And I got that from a guy called Boyce Watkins, meaning black first. What that means is that at the end of the day, I'm a melanated young gentleman, do you know what I mean? So I have to care about things that have to do with my race and do with my culture and the people that look like me, because if I don't care for that, don't care for the men, don't care for the woman, don't care for, you know, the issues that we have, then I'm not caring for myself. I'm not caring for my family. I'm not caring for my future family I'm going to create. Do you know what I mean? So these are things that need to concern people that look like me at the end of the day, right? And that's what it means to be B1, putting black first or putting melanin first, etc. in your state of mind, when you're thinking about economics, getting that money, etc. How can we better the community and make sure that it's circulating within the community, etc. All these type of things. And the reason why I believe there's a subtle difference between B1 and obviously like the pro-black activists and stuff like that, I think Boyce Watkins used to talk about a time ago. You guys should definitely like look into Boyce Watkins. He's, in terms of like getting money and like building the financial power, especially within the black community, he's a sound guy when it comes to that. And one of the things he said is that, unfortunately, if we're pro-black, then that means that we're supporting a majority of the things that our culture does. And if we're calling a spade, you have to learn when to separate the good and the bad things that our culture does and look and just lean into just elevating it. Do you know what I mean? Lean into the things that are going to elevate it, but don't accept absolutely everything that we do, because let's be real, anything that any community does, if you accept everything, is just it's silly. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that us man do that it is questionable. Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. But I'm not gonna allow those small things, or allow, just because we're not perfect, disrupt my decision on actually being, for example, B1. Hopefully my point kind of made sense. Hopefully, anyways. You know what I mean?
10,000 were black. 2022, 67,000 were white. 20,000 were black. And in 2023, 63,000 were white and 21,000 were black. And let's bring up another statistic. 82% of American serial killers are white, 15% were black, and 2.5% were Hispanic. Now, the only reason people bring up black on black crime is to make it seem like black people are so violent. I'm about to say something very ignorant, but please don't take me out of context. Most of the black on black crime is warranted. These people are kind of at war with each other. Most of these deaths aren't innocent people. They in the streets and they know what comes with it.
Bro, you know what's so crazy? I wake up every single day, and before I leave the house and go anywhere in public, I load up my firearm for black people. Not saying that no other race won't do nothing or no shit like that, but ultimately, bro, I'm not worrying about a white nigga or a Mexican nigga when I go out in public. I'm worried about niggas, bro. Like, you might walk into a store and a nigga might look at you the wrong way, and now y'all niggas beefing just because this nigga looked at you the wrong type of way. Like, this shit is crazy as hell. Like, think about it.
And that's what I meant in terms of the whole, like, pro-black thing that I was talking about. I think I'll have to actually re-explain that probably in another video, because I don't want that to get clipped in the wrong kind of way, you know what I'm saying? But it's true. When I'm, let's say, for example, walking in End, right, and I see, let's say, a group of, like, white guys, I'm not thinking at the back of my mind that, oh, these guys can move to me, or they're going to do something, or they're going to move mad, etc. Whereas if I see a group of individuals that happen to, again, look like myself, and they're dressed up in tracksuits and what am I going to think? Let me keep a guard out, or maybe let me turn my music a bit down just in case. Do you know what I mean? Because unfortunately, despite whatever the media's taught us, even us, man, ourselves, we're not necessarily always, you know, showing ourselves love and stuff like that. And it is a bit of a shame. So from the point that you're even getting someone that's in this, really saying that, yo, like, he loads up his WAP for, it's like, it's sad, bro. It's sad when we put these things on a piece of paper and actually look at it and see how much hatred we have for each other within the community. It's just like, bro. And anyone that speaks against that and tries to uplift the community is either not going to care, or the person that is actually the activist ends up getting silenced. Let's be real. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy. And then on the opposite hand, we'll now start caring about situations like, for example, what happened with the Ginger J situation, which, again, Ginger J is completely wrong for what he did and for what he said. But that situation went so viral versus situations like this, and actually educating ourselves on things that are going to empower ourselves and make sure that people within the culture don't even have anything bad to say about ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, where are our priorities? I'm not really too sure, but
This shit, bro. Like, I can go somewhere and a white person will speak to you like, hey, how you doing? But you go anywhere and see a group of niggas, it like you automatically got to get on 10. Like, niggas damn near don't want to speak. None of this shit. Like, bro, this shit is crazy as fuck. What the fuck is wrong with us, bro? Like, this shit need to stop.
This is facts, man, and it's extremely sad. I will say this, though. Everything stems from slavery. I'm sorry, I gotta bring it up. The Willie Lynch letter. Google says that this is fake, man, but that because it applies to the modern day.
And Willie Lynch's How to Make a Slave, Willie Lynch clearly states, make the light hate the dark, make the old hate the young, turn the women against the men, break the families, control the minds, and you will never need chains again. This is Willie Lynch's method on how to keep a slave mentally. See, what he is saying is, we don't need chains anymore. As long as we can control them mentally, as long as we can disfranchise them, as long as we can turn them against one another, they will always be slaves. That was in 1712. It's over 300 years later, and we're still doing the same things to one another. When do we stop being slaves and break the Willie Lynch method?
Literally everything that brother just read off is a tactic that is used in today's society. Put the light against the dark. Colorism is so bad in the black community. Dark skins tearing.
Bro, the colorism thing, yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember, yeah, when I was in primary school, simply because I'm a dark skinned guy, like we already know what it was. Lighties were ruling everything, bro. If you were light skinned, you were treated as royalty back then. Let's be real, you know what I'm saying? It's so crazy how like literally 10 years after that or 15 years after that, roles were literally reversed. So then the dark skins and the brown skins, us man became, like, yeah, the go-to guys, and the lighties. Don't really know what's going on right now, do you know what I mean? But even that whole premise is so dumb because guess what? We're all melanated people. And the reason why I keep on saying melanated is because if we're even being real, race is actually, I know I'm probably going to lose some of you here, yeah, but if you actually look in history, race is a human-made concept. Do you know what I mean? It's literally, if I'm not mistaken, 100 or like 200 years old or something like that. I'll get the accurate thing probably in another video, but it was literally created as a device to then say, okay, cool, us man are basically better than these different people, etc. It's a division technique. If you look back in the day, like back in the day, or for those that, for example, are in faith and look at the Abrahamic faith, for example, you had people of all different skin tones being deemed as a race because what a race was whatever area you're from. They said the people of this area, the people of this area, this people of this area, that's what was deemed race back then. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. My people, them, definitely go and support this young fella's YouTube channel. I know today was a bit of a deep one, you know what I mean? Hopefully I was able to articulate myself in a way that was at least, educational and enlightening. If you agree or disagree with anything, leave it in the comments. If you like topics like this, also let me know down in the comments. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we're looking to build this channel all the way to the moon. See you guys tomorrow.